Welcome to a series on getting started with applications. There are 5 easy steps to getting started with applications in Azure AD. First, register the application with Azure AD. Second, onboard the application to your tenant. Third, assign users and groups to the application. Fourth, enable user account provisioning. And fifth, configure single sign-on. In this video, I'll walk you through how to assign users and groups to your application. Before we get started, you'll want to make sure that you've completed the following items. The application that you're interested in has been registered with Azure AD and added to your tenant. You can find a list of applications that are already supported in Azure AD in our application gallery. You'll also want to ensure that you have users and/or groups in Azure AD, either synced from your on-premises Active Directory or created manually as cloud-only users in Azure AD. Now let's talk about the options that you have for assigning users and groups to your application. You can choose to either directly assign users or groups to your application, or through a self-service model, have users request access to the application. By default, you'll be required to assign either users or groups to your application, so we'll start by talking about that. You can always choose to move to a self-service model later. First, go to portal.azure.com, where you can get started assigning users and groups. Click on Enterprise Apps on the left-hand side, and then search for the application that you're interested in. In this case, we're looking for Box. Select the instance of Box that you're looking for, and navigate to the Users and Groups tile on the left. Here you'll see the list of users and groups already assigned to your application. In this case, we don't have any users, so let's get started assigning users and groups. Click on Add User at the top, and then select the Users and Groups tab. You can choose to either search for a user directly, or scroll from the list of users that you have in your directory. In this case, I'm looking for demo user, so I can search for demo user, click on the username, click select, and then assign that user to the application. You see the notification on the top right hand side that the user has been successfully added. You'll also see the user assigned to the application here. You can use the same process to assign a group to the application. And that's all it takes to assign either a user or group to an application. If you're looking to enable a self-service model where users don't have to be assigned to an application, but rather can request access to the application through myapps.microsoft.com, click on Self-Service on the left-hand side, and by default, self-service will be turned off. You can choose to enable users to request access to the application by clicking Yes, and you'll have to select a security group that these users will be assigned to in order to provide them access. So click on Select Group and choose a group which you would like to assign a user to. Depending on the sensitivity of the data in the application, you may or may not want to require approval before granting access to the application. If you would like to require approval before granting access to the app, click on Yes and select an approver for that application. You can choose from any user or group that's in your directory currently. That's all it takes to get started with self-service. This is an option that greatly simplifies user assignment, as the administrator does not have to manage who gets assigned to the application, but rather the user can request access to the application that he or she needs. Finally, let's just talk a little bit about user assignment versus user account provisioning. This video walked you through how to assign users to the application in Azure AD, ensuring that they have the right to successfully authenticate into the application. However, in order for the application to authorize the user to access specific resources, the user may need to have his or her own account in the application itself. In the next video, we'll walk through how to manage accounts in your application so that it's connected to the assigned user in Azure AD. There are different processes, either through manual user account creation or through an automated process using our SCIM connectors.